Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins All World, coin enthusiasts. Have you ever wondered if the pocket change you're holding could be worth a small fortune? Well, today's the day we're about to uncover a hidden treasure, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, you may have seen these pennies before, casually tossed into your coin jar or simply exchanged for the latest candy bar. But there's one specific version of the 1957 Wheat Penny that might just have you rethinking how much your spare change is worth. Stick around to find out how this humble penny could be sitting on a gold mine. Let's start with a bit of history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, first issued in 1909, was designed to honor President Abraham Lincoln, one of the most revered figures in American history. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, features Lincoln's profile on the obverse, or front, of the coin. His image is accompanied by the inscription Liberty, and beneath his profile, you'll see the phrase, "In God We Trust," along with the coin's date of minting. The reverse side, or the back, of the wheat penny is where the magic happens. On the 1957 version, you'll find two stalks of wheat on either side of the words United States of America and E pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. And right in the center, you'll see 1 cent boldly stating the value of the coin. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced for decades before it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial design. But despite being widely circulated, certain years, like 1957, have special significance, and here's why. You see, not all 1957 wheat pennies are created equal. Most of these coins are still in circulation today, and while they hold sentimental value and serve as a glimpse into the past, they're worth just 1 cent. However, certain factors, like minting errors, condition, and rarity, can push the value of a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny into the stratosphere. Let's talk about condition first. This is the number one factor that determines how much a coin is worth. Coins that have been in circulation for years or even decades often show signs of wear and tear, such as scratches, dents, and discoloration. A coin that's been through the rigors of time doesn't hold the same value as one that's been preserved in perfect condition. An uncirculated 1957 wheat penny, one that has been carefully stored and preserved, is much more valuable. These coins often retain their sharp details, bright surfaces, and stunning finish. If you have a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny in mint condition, you've got a rare and valuable find on your hands. Now, let's dig a little deeper into the rarity of the 1957 Wheat Penny. While millions of these coins were minted, the specific mint mark can make all the difference. If you've got a 1957 penny with a D mint mark, it was produced at the Denver Mint, which is one of the more common varieties. However, the key to a coin's true value lies in its condition and whether or not it has any unusual features, but the real excitement comes with minting errors. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, and this is where the real value lies. Imagine finding a 1957 penny that has been misstruck or double-struck. These types of errors are incredibly rare and can make a coin worth thousands of dollars. Even something as small as a die crack or off-center strike can turn a seemingly ordinary penny into a highly sought-after piece for collectors. Collectors and numismatists are always on the lookout for those special error coins. A double die error, where the image is stamped twice, or a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was struck multiple times in different positions, can make a 1957 penny worth far more than its face value. And let's not forget about toning. Over the years, coins can develop a unique, colorful patina due to exposure to air and moisture. Some collectors find these toned coins to be particularly appealing, and the right toning can significantly increase the value of a coin. Whether it's a beautiful rainbow effect or a deep golden hue, toned coins are highly prized. Now, for the most exciting part, the value. You're probably wondering, how much is a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny really worth? While most 1957 pennies are only worth a few cents, some, especially those in mint condition or with rare errors, can fetch some truly jaw-dropping prices. For example, if you happen to have a 1957 D double die penny in near-perfect condition, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. But even more exciting is the possibility of a truly exceptional find, a 1957 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, with a rare minting error or striking flaw. that could potentially be worth a staggering $46,000. That's right, $46,000 for a single 1957 penny. It's hard to believe, but for the right coin, in the right condition, with the right error or feature, that's the kind of value these pennies can hold. So, it's worth taking the time to examine your 1957 Lincoln Wheat Pennies and see if they have any unique characteristics or minting errors that could make them worth far more than just a penny. If you've got a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a minting error, exceptional condition, or even just the right toning, it could very well be your ticket to a small fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to carefully examine it. You never know, you might have a coin worth $46,000 just sitting in your pocket. Today, we're going to take a close look at a coin that's more than just a piece of currency. It's a rare collectible that could be sitting in your pocket right now. The coin in question? The 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you've ever wondered whether your old pennies could be worth something more than their face value, you're in for a treat. By the end of this video, you might just want to start sorting through your spare change. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909, and it was the U.S. Mint's first coin to feature an actual historical figure, President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this penny quickly became a beloved piece of U.S. currency, and its design has stood the test of time. The obverse of the coin features Lincoln's profile, and underneath, you'll find the famous inscription, "In God We Trust." And, of course, the year of minting, 1917 in this case, can be found to the right of his neck. On the reverse side, you'll see two stalks of wheat flanking the words, 1 cent, symbolizing abundance and prosperity. Now, let's talk about the 1917 edition of this iconic penny. While millions of Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted over the years, there's something about the 1917 version that makes it stand out in the eyes of collectors. The 1917 penny is considered one of the most sought after in the series, and it carries significant value for the right person, especially if it's in good condition or has some special characteristics. You may be wondering, what makes the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny so valuable? Well, the first factor that comes into play is condition. Like any collectible, the condition of a coin can greatly impact its worth. Coins that have been circulated heavily over the years tend to show signs of wear and tear, things like scratches, discoloration, and a worn-down design. These coins are still worth their face value, but they don't command the high prices that uncirculated or well-preserved coins do. On the other hand, an uncirculated 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny, one that has been kept in pristine condition and has avoided the usual wear and tear of daily life, is a much more valuable piece. A coin in excellent condition is much rarer to find, and collectors will pay a premium for a penny that looks as good as the day it was minted. If you happen to have a 1917 penny in mint condition, you're already in a great place to start. Next, let's talk about mint marks. Mint marks indicate where a coin was made, and they can add a layer of complexity to the value of a coin. For the 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny, there are a few variations that you'll want to look out for. If the penny has an S mint mark, it was produced at the San Francisco Mint. If it has a D mint mark, it came from the Denver Mint. The coins from the Philadelphia Mint, however, don't have a mint mark at all. Coins with certain mint marks are rarer than others, and that can have a direct effect on their value, but here's where it gets really interesting. Minting errors are what can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something worth thousands of dollars. Imagine having a 1917 penny that was struck incorrectly, maybe it was double-struck, off-center, or has a die crack running through it. These minting errors make the coin unique, and collectors are willing to pay a hefty sum for error coins. In fact, a 1917 penny with a rare minting error could be worth a lot more than just a few dollars. Collectors search for these error coins because they're one-of-a-kind items that add real value to a collection. Another factor to consider is toning. Over time, coins naturally develop a patina, which can cause them to take on a variety of colors. Some coins become beautifully toned, showing shades of blue, purple, or even rainbow colors. While toning doesn't always increase a coin's value, when done right, it can make a coin even more desirable to collectors. If your 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny has developed a gorgeous patina, you might be sitting on something really valuable. So, you've got your hands on a 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny, now what? How much is it really worth? Well, here's where the excitement really builds. The value of a 1917 penny can vary significantly depending on its condition, mint mark, and any potential minting errors. Most 1917 pennies that are in good condition are worth a few dollars, but when you start getting into higher grades, the value skyrockets. For example, a 1917 penny in uncirculated condition can easily fetch hundreds of dollars. If it has a rare mint mark or a significant error, the value could climb even higher. But the true jackpot comes when you find a 1917 penny with exceptional characteristics, something truly unique in terms of its condition, error, or rarity. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, how much can a 1917 Lincoln Wheat Penny be worth? If you've got a 1917 penny that's in excellent condition, has a rare mint mark, or even better, has a minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth a staggering $86,000, yes, that's right, $86,000 for a single penny. It might sound unbelievable, but that's the reality for some lucky collectors who find these rare, highly sought-after 1917 Lincoln Wheat Pennies. So, the next time you come across a penny from 1917, take a moment to really inspect it. You could be holding onto something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable pieces of U.S. currency, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you've ever wondered about the hidden value in those old pennies lying around, today's the day you might just want to take another look at your collection. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny has more to offer than you might think, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why it's worth so much. The story of the Lincoln Wheat Penny begins all the way back in 1909, when it was first introduced as a tribute to President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this iconic coin showcases Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, with "In God We Trust" and the word "Liberty" alongside it. The reverse side, as you might already know, features 2 ears of wheat flanking the words, 1 cent. Over the years, this coin has undergone a few changes, but the design remained largely the same from its introduction until 1958, when the Lincoln Memorial design replaced it. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during a time of significant historical importance. Just as World War II was coming to an end, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for a nation preparing to enter a new era of peace and prosperity. The year 1945 saw the end of the war, and it was a momentous period for the country as it recovered and rebuilt. As you can imagine, these pennies were used in everyday transactions, from purchasing a loaf of bread to being tucked away in a coin jar. However, with time, many of these coins have either been lost or damaged, making the ones that are still in good condition particularly valuable. So, what makes the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special? Let's break it down a bit. First off, it's all about rarity. While the 1945 penny was minted in significant quantities, with millions produced, the condition of those pennies plays a huge role in determining their value. Coins that were used in daily circulation have typically suffered from years of wear, with scratches, discoloration, and general signs of age. However, finding one in near mint or uncirculated condition is a rare and exciting find for collectors. If you happen to have a 1945 penny that has been carefully preserved and is free from the usual wear and tear, it's a much more valuable piece. An uncirculated 1945 penny could be worth much more than its face value, and that's where the real potential comes in. A coin that has been well cared for and kept in a controlled environment will retain its sharp features and smooth surface, making it highly desirable to numismatists and collectors alike. Now, let's dive deeper into the mint mark. The 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny comes in a few variations, depending on where it was minted. If your penny has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. If it has a D mint mark, it came from the Denver Mint, and if it has an S, it was produced at the San Francisco Mint. Typically, coins with the S mint mark are a bit rarer, as fewer were made at the San Francisco Mint compared to the other two. That said, the 1945 pennies from all three mints can be valuable, but those produced at San Francisco tend to have a higher level of interest. However, here's the key part: minting errors. These little imperfections can turn an otherwise regular coin into a valuable collector's item. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process. Perhaps the penny was struck off-center, or maybe it was double-struck. Sometimes, you might even find coins with die cracks or repunched mint marks. These kinds of errors are incredibly rare and make the coin a truly unique piece. Collectors love these kinds of coins because they stand out from the standard issue, and owning a coin with a minting error can dramatically increase its value. To put it simply, a minting error can be the difference between a penny worth a few cents and one that's worth thousands of dollars. If you've got a 1945 penny with an error, it could fetch a significant sum, depending on the rarity of the mistake and how well the coin has been preserved. These minting errors add a layer of excitement to coin collecting because each one is unique and cannot be replicated. Let's not forget about toning. Over time, coins naturally develop a unique patina due to exposure to air and moisture. Some collectors find that toned coins, those with colorful shades like blue, purple, or golden hues, are even more appealing. While toning doesn't always increase a coin's value, a well-toned 1945 penny can make for a stunning addition to any collection. It's something to keep in mind as you examine your own coins. So now that we've covered the basics of what makes the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special, let's get to the exciting part: how much is this little penny worth? While most 1945 Lincoln Wheat Pennies are worth only a few cents in average condition, that's not the case for every coin. A well-preserved or error coin can be worth a lot more. In fact, a 1945 penny with excellent condition, rare features, or minting errors can fetch some jaw-dropping prices. If you have a rare 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny, perhaps with an error or in exceptional condition, you could be looking at a coin that's worth up to $43,000. Yes, you heard that right, $43,000 for a single 1945 penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once used for everyday purchases could be worth so much today. So, take a moment to check through your coin collection, or even your spare change. You never know, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny sitting in your pocket could be worth far more than you imagined. Today, we're diving into the world of one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. history, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny. While this penny might look like just another piece of old currency, there's more to it than meets the eye. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this coin has the potential to surprise you with its value. In fact, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny might just be worth much more than you think. Stick around as we explore why this particular penny is such a sought-after collector's item and reveal just how much it could be worth today. Let's take a step back for a moment and talk about the history behind the Lincoln Wheat Penny. First introduced in 1909, the Lincoln Wheat Penny was a game-changer in U.S. currency. The design by Victor David Brenner, featuring President Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, quickly became iconic. The reverse, with its two stalks of wheat flanking the words, 1 cent, symbolized the agricultural prosperity of the United States. Over the years, this coin has become one of the most recognizable pieces of American currency, cherished by collectors and history lovers alike. The 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a particularly interesting year in this series. It was minted at a time when the country was recovering from the end of World War II. The economy was bouncing back, and people were beginning to feel a sense of stability. This period in U.S. history saw the country go through significant transformations, both economically and culturally, and the coins of that era reflect that. Now, let's talk about the specifics of the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Most of these coins were minted in large quantities, but that doesn't mean they all hold the same value. The condition of the coin is a huge factor in determining how much it's worth. Like any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. Pennies that have been circulating for decades are likely to show signs of wear, like scratches, discoloration, and faded details. But coins that have been carefully preserved, especially those that are uncirculated, can fetch impressive prices. In fact, uncirculated 1949 Lincoln Wheat Pennies are highly prized by collectors. These coins are those that have been carefully stored and haven't been through the usual daily transactions that cause wear. If you come across a 1949 penny that still has sharp details and a clean, shiny surface, you might just be holding onto something much more valuable than you think. Another aspect to consider is the mint mark. The mint mark tells us where the coin was struck, and the location plays a significant role in its rarity. For the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny, there are three types of coins to look out for. Philadelphia Mint. These pennies don't have a mint mark at all. Denver Mint. These coins have a D mint mark. San Francisco Mint. These coins feature an S mint mark. Each mint produced different quantities of coins, and the 1949 pennies from the San Francisco Mint are usually a bit more scarce compared to the ones from Philadelphia or Denver. While the Denver mint mark is also relatively common, the San Francisco versions can sometimes be harder to find in excellent condition, which boosts their value in the eyes of collectors. But the true magic happens when you start talking about mint errors. Minting errors are fascinating because they make a coin unique. These imperfections could be anything from double strikes to off-center minting, die cracks, or repunched mint marks. Mint errors like these are very rare, and when they occur, they can dramatically increase the value of a coin. For example, if you have a 1949 penny with a double die error or a significant off-center strike, collectors are willing to pay a premium for it. In some cases, these error coins can be worth thousands of dollars, even if the coin isn't in perfect condition. Beyond just errors, the overall patina and toning of the coin can also play a role in its desirability. Over the years, coins can take on beautiful colors due to oxidation, which gives them a unique and sometimes stunning appearance. If your 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny has developed a rainbow-toned patina, it could be worth more to certain collectors who appreciate the natural aging process. While toning doesn't always guarantee an increase in value, a well-toned coin can certainly stand out in a collection. Now, you're probably wondering, how much could your 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny actually be worth? Well, here's where it gets exciting. If you've got an uncirculated 1949 penny in pristine condition, or one with a rare mint error, you're in for a treat. While most 1949 pennies in average condition are worth just a few cents, well-preserved examples can fetch hundreds of dollars. And if you're lucky enough to have a rare mint-marked penny or an error coin, your penny could be worth thousands of dollars. But here's the jaw-dropping part: for a 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny that's in exceptional condition, has a rare mint mark, or features a unique minting error, the value could climb as high as $40,000. Yes, $40,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once worth just 1 cent could now command such a hefty price. So, the next time you come across a 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny in your collection or in your pocket change, take a moment to inspect it closely. You might just have a hidden gem on your hands. Check the mint mark, examine the condition, and look for any potential errors. Who knows? That humble penny could be worth much more than you ever imagined. Today, we have an exciting discovery that could make you look at your coin collection in a whole new light. If you've ever wondered what makes certain coins so valuable, or if you have a collection of old pennies gathering dust, this video is for you. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that may look like just another penny, but it's packed with historical significance and, believe it or not, incredible value. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny could be worth a whole lot more than you thought. Let's rewind a bit. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner. It was the first time in U.S. history that a president was featured on a coin, and what better president to choose than Abraham Lincoln? On the obverse of the penny, you'll see Lincoln's profile, surrounded by the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." On the reverse, the design features 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agrarian roots and prosperity. This iconic design would be in circulation for nearly 50 years before being replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Now, let's focus on the 1950 version. The year 1950 was an interesting one in American history. The country was in the middle of the post-World War II economic boom, and the U.S. was recovering from the devastation of the war years. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced during a time when Americans were experiencing newfound prosperity and were busy rebuilding the economy. But as time went on, these pennies were tossed aside, used in everyday transactions, and many eventually got lost or worn out. But for those who kept their pennies in pristine condition, this little coin has the potential to be worth a small fortune today. What makes the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny so special is its rarity and condition. While these pennies were produced in large quantities, not all of them have survived the test of time. Over the decades, coins that were used in everyday commerce became worn down, scratched, or tarnished. So, when you come across a 1950 penny in excellent condition, you're holding a coin that's become increasingly rare and valuable. That's right, uncirculated or well-preserved coins are considered the true treasures of the numismatic world. A significant factor in the value of a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is its mint mark. The mint mark tells us where the coin was produced. For the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny, there are 3 different mint marks to look for: Philadelphia Mint, these coins have no mint mark; Denver Mint, these coins are marked with a D; San Francisco Mint, these coins have an S mint mark. Coins minted in Philadelphia are generally more common than those struck in Denver or San Francisco. San Francisco minted pennies, in particular, are generally harder to find, especially in good condition. But the real magic happens when we're talking about error coins. Minting errors are rare mistakes that happen during the production process, and these errors can make a coin significantly more valuable. For example, you might come across a coin that was struck off-center, creating a distinct and unique look. Or you could find a double-struck penny, where the coin has been stamped twice, creating a blurred or overlapping image. Errors like these are highly sought after by collectors because they make the coin one of a kind. If you've ever wondered why some coins can be worth so much more than others, it's because these minting mistakes add a layer of rarity that boosts their value. But even without mint errors, the overall condition of the coin plays a massive role in its worth. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition are far more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. A well-maintained coin will have sharp details, smooth surfaces, and a fresh appearance. The closer a coin is to its original state when it was minted, the more it's worth to collectors. So, if you find a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny that looks brand new, you may have a hidden gem on your hands. Let's talk numbers now. The value of a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny can vary depending on its condition and rarity. Most 1950 pennies in average condition are worth only a few cents. But for a well-preserved or uncirculated coin, you could be looking at something much more valuable. In fact, a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny in exceptional condition can fetch a hefty sum in the marketplace. But the real kicker comes if you find a rare version of the coin with an error or one that's especially well preserved. This is where it gets exciting. A 1949 penny with the right features, whether it's a rare mint mark, unique toning, or minting errors, could potentially fetch up to an astonishing $40,500. Yes, you heard that correctly, $40,500 for a single penny. It's absolutely mind-blowing when you realize that something as small and ordinary as a penny could be worth so much. So, what should you do if you think you found a 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny with significant value? First, carefully inspect the coin for any signs of wear or damage. The better the condition, the more valuable it could be. Second, check for the mint mark. Is it a rare San Francisco or Denver mint coin? Does it have any errors that could make it even more unique? And lastly, if you're unsure about the coin's value, take it to a professional numismatist or a reputable coin dealer for evaluation. Imagine finding a coin in your collection or in your change that could be worth $40,500. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of those hidden treasures that could change the way you view old pennies forever. If you happen to have one of these rare gems in your collection, make sure to treat it with care. It might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for tuning in today and exploring the fascinating world of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future coin discoveries. Until next time, keep hunting, keep collecting, and remember that one penny could be worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent.